So guys, this lawyer has come out to speak about Nnamdi Kanu's open letter. We know that recently he wrote an open letter, talking about his ordeal and what he's going through. Honestly, it's really so sad that the Nigerian government is talking about charging Nnamdi Kanu with terrorism when we have seen, the terror act being carried out by the northern terrorists, and they are being granted pardon, they are being granted forgiveness. Recently we saw that there was a kidnap that happened to a Afenifere youth leader, and guess what, this thing happened in the north, and a phone conversation has been trending where the family members were negotiating with the bandits, and guess what, they told him in a northern tone, a northern intonation, they were telling the man that if you are not fast enough to bring the 100k, we are going to unalive this man here, that we have already given him 2 bullets, it's remaining the 3rd one for his life to be ended. And they were threatening. You can imagine, in this country, tell me, will the security agents say they don't know where this man is? Will the military say they don't know where this man is being kept? Will all the security agents, will they say they don't know where this man is? But nobody can dare go to disrupt these terrorists. Then somebody who has never committed any terrorism, has never unalived anybody, is being charged with terrorism. What a nation, for God's sake. What a nation have we found ourselves. And tomorrow, if people begin to agitate, you call them terrorists. But these are the things that give room for terrorism. Just pure hatred for the Igbos. Anyway, let me allow you to take a look at what this lawyer has got to say. Don't forget to drop your honest thoughts in the comment section below. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Take a look.
The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra is now a man who is taking his fate in his own hands. After his open rebuke of Justice Binta Nyako last week, he, on the 14th of February, penned an open letter to the public, lamenting the executive interference and judicial indifference or collusion with the executive. Is it now a question of, thus far, no further for Nnamdi Kanu's trial? This is the Eastern Eye. I'm Alex Obodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. It's a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me tonight is also Barrister Nnamdi Kanu. He is a constitutional lawyer and, of course, a community leader. Barrister Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu has been in the news 2 weeks back to back, and I would like PCR to put up that letter. Let's just take a look at it, beginning from the first page of it. So let's see. So his open letter to the public. It says, "Greetings to all men and women of goodwill in Nigeria and elsewhere in the world. I have been compelled by events of the past few days to take the unusual step of writing this open letter for the singular purpose of calling the attention of the public to the serial executive and judicial fraud being perpetrated against me since my extraordinary rendition in 2021. So he now went ahead to pen a whole lot of lengthy stuff that, yes, of course, there's no way I'll read it. It's just lengthy. So the long and short of it, Nnamdi Kanu has bared his heart and his mind on an open letter. So for someone on trial, what is this?
Well, for someone on trial, this is like one taking one's fate in one's own hands. Nnamdi Kanu had or have legal representation all the while. A greater number of those doing them pro bono. You can see that of Jimako. You can see that of the other young man from what's his name. Now, these people have been representing him all the while in court. But if you watch the scenario of what happened last week in open court, even while the judge was still sitting, he opened up and said he wanted to take his fate in his own hands. let him defend himself. Let him talk how he feels. You see, when you have two different laws for two different sets of people in one country in brackets, you find out that this is the kind of thing you expect to be happening. Because we can recall that in this platform of Afet TV, we have discussed the Attorney General's enter of Nole for the Mieti Allah suspect that was being tried for terrorism and reasonable felony. We have also seen the discharge of the case of Igboho in the Southwest. Now you ask yourself, what is so special about Nnamdi Kanu's own? Nnamdi Kanu, when he said the husband and the son of Justice Nyako is being tried for corruption somewhere, and that they gave him a condition that she should jail him so that the son and the husband could be set free. Some people began to dig whether it is true or not, and I found out it is true. Now, that's by the way. The judge also recused herself following Nnamdi Kanu's protest last year. I think that was around between November or September or thereabouts. The judge said, okay, since you don't want me to try you, I will not try you. That is what you call recusing yourself. She recused herself. Now, the file was returned to the chief judge of the Federal High Court for reassignment to any other judge, or even to himself. Nothing stops him assigning to himself. After all, they are all judges. The difference is that this one is the eldest. Otherwise, they are primus. He's just a mere primus inter pares among judges. He cannot even overrule a fellow judge because all of them have the same power. But administratively, somebody should be at administrative level. The chief judge of the Federal High Court is at the administrative level. So when the case file was returned to him, the rumor mill says that many judges rejected the file. That's the rumor mill. It wasn't in the judge's own hands. He didn't write it down, because if he had written that, we could have known a judge that will be assigned a case and say he will reject it. Now, even if all the judges reject it, why not take it on yourself? Since Nyako has recused herself, now you sent it back to Nyako. That is when Nnamdi began to smell a rat. Because what is so special about Nyako? Is she not just a judge like every other judge? Why must she be the one that the file will be going, you recuse yourself, you bring the file back to the same judge? No. What makes Nyako so special to try Nnamdi Kanu's matter? Now, Nnamdi has no other option rather than to write an open letter. So let Nigerians see how he is faring with his trial. Let Nigerians see it. Now, as a lawyer, at least any lawyer that is above 20 years post-court is no more a young lawyer, because some people call a young barrister. I'm no more a young barrister. Mm-hmm. So I think my take home from this very trial is that it is no more prosecution of a suspect, let me put it that way. It's no more prosecution of a suspect. It is now persecution of a suspect. Because why do I say it is persecution? Persecution is saying that, number one, you have an illegal act which you committed to bring Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria. That is rendition. It is illegal, both under international law and our own law. But then it happened under Buhari. And Buhari, like all we know, is a man of rendition. He tried to rendition Umar Diko, where he was a military head of state. But the ego eye of British police, the American police, I think it was American police also, I think British, they caught him and then opened the crate. Lo and behold, it was Umar Diko that was created in a crate. about to be taken back to Nigeria on a diplomatic bag. Because according to Buhari, he was indicted in a military tribunal that was set to try politicians who held sway in Nigeria between 1979 and 1983 when they had their coup. Now, they tried the same thing with Nnamdi Kanu. A plane flew into Kenya, got Nnamdi arrested. Whatever way they used to hypnotize and put him into a plane and bring him to Nigeria, only them knows. Even though Kenyan government says they are not even aware that the plane came to Nigeria, but that is also a falsity, because every plane that takes off from any airport in the world
has a
known.
destination.
Yes, it is known. Just like a ship. Any ship that takes off from any port in the world, there is a monitoring mechanism for ships, just like they are for planes. So telling us that they don't know that the plane came to Kenya and took Nnamdi Kanu is neither here nor there. But let us leave Kenya out of it. Let us look at the people that orchestrated the mass rendition to Nigeria. Now, having been rendition to Nigeria, the question is, what stops you, assuming you have renditioned him illegally? And you can recall also that there are about 1 or 2 court orders or court judgments telling them to release Nnamdi Kanu. And in all these things, the federal government has never faulted. Either way, they will say they will draft a new charge. If court discharges you of a given charge for which you were arraigned in court, and you are still kept by the security agencies 1 minute after that order, it's an illegal detention. And if you sue for it, for false imprisonment, you could recover in damages. But this ones, nobody cares. They bring the man, they try him, they discharge him, they say they hold him, they bring another charge tomorrow. So these things are things why the man now has to take the laws into
his hands.
Yes, and then start to defend himself.
But what will be the implications of this in judicial terms? Because I'm sure if it doesn't have a consequence, it should have. There must be an effect of this. Do you think, because you analyze now that it looks like no judge wants to accept the case. So is it more like saying that this is the dead end for the trial?
No, it is not. See, the implication is that the man has thrown himself into the court of public opinion. Let the world see what is happening with me. And you can jolly well know that this letter did not just stop in Nigeria. This letter has gone viral. It is almost all over the world. World leaders have seen the letter and they know. And you find out that you are measured as a national leader by your respect for human rights. If Tinubu is a president, if I am to advise him, but at the very first onset of his administration, if I were to be his legal advisor, what I could advise him is to order the release of all those people being tried on self-determination charges. Because ordinary law, under both international law and national laws of the states, it's not a crime. If somebody says, I want to live where I belong, even Nigerian constitution gives freedom of association. So if you say, I don't want to associate with Nigeria again, is it not part of freedom of association? Remember, the Supreme Court has interpreted dissemination of information, knowledge, and whatever in the constitution to mean that you are free to set up even private universities. Because that's when universities were being set up here and there. Federal government started to clamp down on some of the private universities. They went to court. And the Supreme Court interpreted it to mean that dissemination of information and this for whatever reason also includes setting up university, because this university, you are getting new knowledge there and there are information being displayed there. And that also gave rise to the springing up of some of these private electronic and print media. Like we are here now. Ordinary before, it was the MTA that had the monopoly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying in effect is that if the president has been advised rightly, I think what he could have done in the first instance, when he was releasing Igboho and the other Mietiala young man, he could have also said, Nnamdi Kanu, go home and sin no more. If you want to carry out your demand for self-determination, follow international best practices. There are guidelines. Go to the United Nations, seek two-thirds majority, or find any of the Security Council henchmen, the ones that once they can veto anything, get just one. Let that one come and speak on your behalf, on the behalf of the country you're asking for, under the United Nations Charter. Then go and organize a referendum in your own area. Let us know how many people want to leave and how many people don't want to leave. So, but you also find out that people are saying that the rumor mills making the rounds is that the stakeholders in the southeastern part of Nigeria, in fact, the eastern region of Nigeria, doesn't also want Nnamdi Kanu released.
Yeah, that's a very disturbing thing to, I mean, it's moving around, but in what way would they be benefiting from his continuous detention?
Yes, let me tell you how they would benefit. You see, there are two groups of people that control the masses, the state actors and non-state actors. The state actors are the ones purportedly, in bracket, voted into power. They are the state actors. Non-state actors are like people like Nnamdi Kanu and the NGOs. They are the non-state actors. Now, you will find out that most of the time, if the non-state actors gives a directive, people obey it to the letter, including this sit-at-home that I refuse to go in the southeast. Even if the urban areas now don't observe sit-at-home, we go to the villages, they are all sitting at home on Mondays. No school opens. The teachers will tell you it is better I will be alive and my salary deducted than I'll be a dead person and nobody pays me anything. So you find out that who gave that instruction for sit-at-home every Monday? Not state actors. Now state actors have said, disobey it, come to work. I will deal with you if you don't come to work. Yet they are still being disobeyed. So there is likelihood that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, he will rupture the political setting for some of these state actors.
So could this be the reason why it is convenient for the federal government to keep him in detention?
Oh, see, the federal government, Tinubu as a president, doesn't drink beer with me in the streets of Zikebene. He doesn't chill with us in ShopRite, but he stays in Asorok. Whatever he needs is in Asorok. So he's fed. The information he's given, where he's sitting, is the information he's going to work with. If they tell him, no, if the man comes out, nobody is safe in the southeast, he will believe them because they are the people who get access to him. Me and you doesn't have access to Tinubu. But the state governors of the eastern region, beginning from Enugu to Bayelsa, they have access to the governor, to the president. The ministers, including the former minister of, including the equipment minister of, works, and the equipment minister of federal capital territory. You know, these are people who doesn't want to hear about Nnamdi Kanu. Even when the minister of works was the governor of Ebonyi State, he will always tell you Ebonyi is not part of Biafra. So if these people are there, surrounding the president, usually we know that president will always listen to them, thinking that they have the voice of the people, not knowing that they don't.
So one would deduct from the letter Nnamdi Kanu is writing for public opinion to help him, or maybe the whole discussion will now sway the hand of justice. Is that what it is?
No, well, I think, first of all, it is the public opinion to assist. The hand of justice has a procedure. The open letter is not filed in court. So court has no need. Court cannot make use of something that is not before it.
Well, obviously, he didn't intend that to be
in the court.
I think there is an adage around here about that, about an animal crying not to be saved, but for the whole to hear him.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, what outcome do you think Nnamdi Kanu is expecting with what he did at the court last week and the letter he also wrote on the 14th of February?
What he is expecting is political solution to his problem.
So has he said that? Is he plainly asking for that?
No. You see, one thing is that, remember, Nnamdi Kanu most of the time has said, if I have accepted to have an oil well, I could have since been released. If I have accepted to abandon the Biafran struggle, I could since have been released. If I had accepted to be the vice president, of the presidential candidate, I could since have been released. But these things does not inure to the comfort of my people. And that is why I rejected it. So when you follow most of the things the young man say, you find out that they want that kind of... Remember, Wazirike was incarcerated. Did you remember? Somewhere along the line, Wazirike, curtailed. And that gave rise to the rise of Nnamdi Kanu. Now, Nnamdi Kanu now was renditioned. That gave rise to Simon Ekpa. Simon Ekpa was detained in Finland. That gave rise to Mrs. Orabueze. Orabueze now also finding some... If you follow this Biafran trend, you find out how the scenario works. Most of this is on social media. You read them up. Now, what I'm saying in effect is that keeping Nnamdi Kanu ad infinitum in detention does not even help anybody. Rather, to be painting the federal government as a government that does not respect human rights. Remember, they also clamped down on Showere. Showere is also not, sorry, not claiming for, talking about self-determination. He's talking about a new Nigeria, just like IPOB. But he's talking his own in an activist way. So that was why he was arrested and trying to say this is wrong. The IG's continue staying in office is illegal and so on. So they clamped on him, charged him for one offense or the other. And they got condition with him. He said, not going to fulfill the condition because the condition has been outlawed by the Court of Appeal, telling people to bring civil servants. Now, Showere, I think he's not in detention for now. Delefa Orintimi has also raised his voice, crying for this kind of torture and abuse of human rights. And he was also detained briefly. And in detention, now sold the sale of his books. So, the same way, this is Nnamdi Kanu's detention. The federal government is indirectly making Nnamdi Kanu an eternal hero of the Biafran struggle. That is how I see it. Because if you keep on detaining the young man, what you are telling the world is that he is the arrowhead of a group of people who want to leave Nigeria. And the world now know that he exists. But if you have played the kind of Obasanjo, John was the guest time, people could have forgotten about it and Kanu by now. So they are indirectly popularizing the man by keeping him perpetually in detention. So whoever don't know about him can now know about him. But if they have brought him from Kenya, maybe try him for 2-3 weeks, 1 month, and then give judgment that, like giving the judgment that he has committed no offense and let him go. But whatever he's doing, whether he does it within the ambit of the law. By now, some people could have said who is Nnamdi Kanu by the way. So, but for the fact that they kept keeping the young man in detention, they are soaring his popularity. They don't know indirectly. Because if I was talking about the Obasanjo syndrome to Wazirike called for sit-at-home when Obasanjo was in power. And the foreign press cornered Obasanjo was asking Obasanjo, we thought this issue of Biafra had been arrested. One young man has arisen again and said, let people sit at home, and everyone sat at home. Even that day, Tinubu, that day, Tinubu was still the governor of Lagos State. He was forced to appear on national television begging the Igbos to come and open their shops, even if by 4 p.m. when Wazirike called for sit at home. Now, Obasanjo was cornered by the foreign press. He told them he doesn't know about the sit at home. That what he knows is that the Igbos were celebrating their New Year festival. So people laughed over it. And when was he called for a second stage, nobody obeyed him because he was never detained. Obasanjo just ignored him. So do you see how Obasanjo now kicked the man? Now Buhari is usually crude way, felt that detention is always the best option for everything. It doesn't work like that.
All right. We will take a quick break. When we return, I'll find out exactly where there seem to be cold shoulders from the Southeast political elite. Is it a problem or a solution? Stay with us. Back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, the program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Abodo, and we're reaching you live from Enugu, Southeast Nigeria. So I still have other barrister Nadume of Fokansi here with me. So a lot of people are alleging that there is a conspiracy of silence in the Southeast regarding the detention of Nnamdi Kanu. What we've seen, they are analyzing that a governor will go to the president and come out and say, I asked the president for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So, but we haven't seen them as a front asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Do you think that that allegation is founded?
Yes, I think it's founded because if you say something is sweet, you say what it tastes like. There is an adage in Oglogue, my village, that says, if you say that the head of Wobochi is light, go and carry it. So, the Wobochi of a person has a very big head naturally. So, if you feel that you are working to release Nnamdi Kanu, what stops you when you are talking to the president, having it on tape?
Well, that's just a problem with that. Normally, when you talk with presidents, it's not on TV, except it's something that is meant to be televised.
Okay.
And, this is not me speaking for the presidential villa, but the standard practice, you will come out and tell the people what you discussed, or what was agreed that was discussed.
That's all right. If you come out to tell us what was agreed or what was discussed, there is a presidential spokesman, all right? And if you have had a meeting, a robust meeting with the president, you come out, there are some officials of the Asa Rock, that definitely will come with you to address the press. Not that we don't believe the Southeast leaders, but because over time, they have shown us that they will say one thing and do another, especially where the welfare of our people is concerned. But the catalog of the hanky-panky statements are legion. I don't want, if I start here now, I cannot even leave this program today. But what I'm saying is that if you are working for your people, I don't believe any non-state actor can turn the table against you if you're actually working for your people. Why do I say that? If, for instance, Nnamdi Kanu comes out and tells people that Alex Oti is not doing well in Abia State, you are namesake Alex Oti in Abia State, are not doing well, people will not agree with him. He will immediately have some enemies. If he comes out tomorrow and says, no, everything, all the physical structures we are seeing in Enugu being erected by Peter Mba, they are not real. People will eventually rise and contradict him and say, no, you are not right. But if he comes to tell us that Hope Uzodimma, for instance, is not taking the security of Imo State very serious, no people will believe him. This is where I'm going. If the people in the Southeast are nonchalant and that they have not come as a united force, excuse me, to say we want this young man released. See, there are a lot of people who committed some heinous felonious offenses that have been given parole. by the president, especially when Buhari was there. Excuse me. You see Boko Haram repentant suspects. They say they will retrain them and then dump them into the army. Boko Haram, people you know were out to destroy and harm and kill people. But what is the offense of Nnamdi Kanu? Let us even say. What is his offense? People will now say, did this man go for kidnapping? The answer is no. Did he murder anybody? The answer is no. Did he rape anybody's wife? The answer is no. Did he go for armed robbery? The answer is no. What then is his offense? He says, we are being marginalized. My people are being marginalized. Since you don't want us in this confederation called Nigeria, we want to have our own nation. And I will go about this thing by referendum. I want people to vote whether they want to still stay in Nigeria or not. This thing the man is saying is allowed under international law. Like I said, it's also allowed even under our Nigerian constitution. So what is so special about what he's clamoring for? From what Igbo was clamoring for in the West, Southwest, or what some of the people in the North are clamoring for. Remember, if you need to take ourselves down memory lane, during 1960, in fact 1958, 1959, when Nigeria could have gotten independence with Ghana, the North said we are not ready. Give the South independence if they want independence. But we are not ready for independence. Let's still be managed by the colonial masters. But Zig said we should wait for them. And we waited for 2 years. Otherwise, we could have gotten independence with Ghana in 1958. So we waited for them till 1960. Even at 1960, they were not still ready. The North was not still ready. Until 1963, when we now became a republic, when they now reluctantly joined Nigeria, reluctantly. Now, when the issue of the coup of 1966 happened, the same North said, Araba, let's go. We don't want to be here. Now, nobody persecuted anybody in the North for saying Araba. It was still the same West that was telling Gowon, don't allow this to happen. Because the greater part of the resources you will build this country is down south. Now Gowon said, we are going to be one Nigeria. We fought a bloody 30 months war and still came back with no victor, no vanquished, which is just no victor, no vanquished in paper. We know who was vanquished. We know who was the victor. Now, why I took you down memory lane is because this thing did not just start with Nnamdi Kanu. So in 1999, when the new dispensation came on board, Wazirike arose, just like the Bible said, that they knew in the days of the census, a man called Theodosius arose and pretended to show himself as somebody powerful. Israelites killed him, like they killed others, and nobody followed the man. But this man called Jesus Christ, when he arose, you did to him what you did to the other ones. But those people who have been following him refused to go back. That was Gamaliel's judgment. That these people refuse to go back. And so leave these people who are following this man called Jesus. Because if you keep on opposing the followers, you might even end up opposing God. That's the way I see this thing. Because there were 3 people who came in Israel before this man. Once you kill the person, nobody follows him again. But immediately you kill this man, people could keep on following him. So, Nnamdi Kanu has even said, with his death, it is even better for him. Because whatever he's clamoring for will come faster. So what is the point of keeping him? I still want the federal government to play the olive branch and use the political solution to solve this problem. Because they are going to end up in a quagmire.
That's right. But based on everything you've seen,
yes,
do you actually envisage that situation?
I do.
So in what way do you think it will unravel? Because sometime last year, I think you were on this program.
Yes.
And we were seeing signs that could be suggesting that the federal government was just about to release Nnamdi Kanu. That didn't happen. And one would be wondering what went wrong if there were moves before for him to be released.
What went wrong was the same rumor mill we have been hearing, unconfirmed, unauthoritative, that the Southeast leaders are frustrating and truncating the mass release. Nobody has officially told us this is the position. But what I'm saying is that his continued detention is attracting international attention, which ordinarily could not have attracted if they have just tried a man with them they brought him from Kenya and abided by the judgment of the Court of Appeal that says he should be released at the first time, before they now brought this other charge now, with which they are still arraigning him before Nyako. So, with this international attention, the world is one global village now. And being a global village, if your president will travel, wherever he goes, the foreign press will follow him. And they'll ask him about Nnamdi Kanu. He must have to say something about it. Wherever he goes now, any foreign press that is allowed to, because unless they edit part of Nnamdi Kanu and bring other questions, once you appear before, because the foreign press is not like the Nigerian press, where they will tell you, give us your question before you ask the president. No, this one, they'll ask him direct. And if he has no answer for it, they will be recorded against him on human rights abuses. He will go to another country, the same thing will arise again. And by the time they ask him 1, 2 places in foreign countries, they say, my friend, what is, by the way, what am I, look, remember there are resources that are being used in prosecuting this man. These are resources that could have been channeled to something better. Something better, I mean it. The woman who is prosecuting is receiving his pay. I don't think he belongs to the Minister of Justice. So he must have been hired on fiat. And when you hire such people on fiat, it's a humongous amount of money. You don't take such senior advocates just on a peanut.
That's right.
But these are one resources that are being wasted on a prosecution. You know it's going nowhere. Because naturally, everybody knows that prosecution is going nowhere. If you're a lawyer, you should know it's going nowhere.
So why do you think it is going nowhere?
Why I think it's going nowhere is that under the Actions Law, or under the Actions Act, you don't benefit from your own illegal act. You created an illegal act by bringing somebody to Nigeria illegally, and you want to try the same person. So that illegal act alone has nullified the trial. So you don't believe under the I will just give you maybe when I come again, I give the special section both under the state law and under the federal act. You find out that under the Actions Act, you don't benefit from your illegal acts. So if you have brought somebody down to Nigeria illegally, you now want to try the person and expect the person to go to jail when what you did to bring him was illegal. So you don't benefit from such things legally. So the trial is going nowhere. Unless you close your eyes, like the man is alleging, that they are threatening the woman that you should close your eyes, send me to jail. So that maybe when I go on appeal, before you finish on appeal, I must have stayed 1 or 2 years in detention. And you might also ask yourself, why keeping the man in DSS detention? Take him to prison if you want to keep him on remand. Because if somebody is on awaiting trial, he stays in prison custody.
That's right.
Why in DSS custody? So everything about Nnamdi Kanu is special. His trial is special. His detention is special. The offense of which is accused is special. Special. He's bringing back to Nigeria to face trial is special. So everything around him is special from the normal. That's all we're saying.
So at the end of the day, you are thinking that yes, it's special, but who is supposed to trigger the political solution?
He has triggered it already by his open letter to the world.
You think that is enough?
He has triggered it. It's more than enough. It's not, look, you underestimate the power of the social media.
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank God you don't.
Absolutely not.
Because
Absolutely
if you don't underestimate the power of the social media, this letter will reconquer all the 4 ends of the world. But the very moment it is posted, it has landed in Australia, that's the end of the world. They are landed in the United States, they are landed in the UK, and everybody has a phone. A child of 10 years will be reading it. The president, his spare time will be reading it. A minister will be reading it. So that is the way to trigger it. Do you expect the same Attorney General who doesn't want the man released, or who is being compelled not to allow the man to be released? Do you want the man to trigger the political solution? No, he can't. Do you want his lawyers who are not being listened to? But the man has said, my lawyers, I just saw you. Keep quiet. Let me now defend myself.
Okay, now that you've mentioned his lawyers, some people are already pointing to the fact that Nnamdi Kanu doesn't seem to be treating his lawyers properly in terms of how he speaks to them and how he talks over them.
I remember that before, Mike Ozekome was in his legal team. And like I said, many of people in the Nnamdi Kanu's legal team are doing the matters pro bono. Pro bono, in the ordinary man's language, means free of charge. Now, it's not every lawyer that takes pro bono briefs. And lawyers who take it, some people take it for a lot of reasons. First reason could be sympathetic reason. And this man is so indigent, he couldn't pay for legal services. You take his matter pro bono. Another one is maybe your zeal as an activist. You want to take matters pro bono because you're an activist. You're a lawyer who believes nobody should be hunted down, whether they pay you or not. Even to rich men, you do them on pro bono. Then others also do it for publicity. You know, in law, you don't advertise, but there are people who prefer, you know, it is against our ethics even to appear in camera with your wig and your gown.
Okay.
Once you finish in court, you remove your wig and remove your gown. You can leave your bib because it's part of your shirt and your dressing. But you can see today, when press is being addressed, a lot of lawyers appear in their wig and gowns. If they are addressing the judge, it is unprofessional. Now, but those things are advertisement gimmicks. Now, maybe Nnamdi has studied his lawyers. And I've seen that maybe either of these criteria I've stated now, you know, fall into some of them.
Yeah.
And they now feel that they are not doing the thing prosperously the way he could have done it. Dr. Ibekwe, of blessed memory, he was my lecturer in University of Nigeria. He was the principal of Umueze Boys Secondary School in those days, in the early 70s. He's from Nnewi. The students had a demonstration, destroyed a lot of things. Police arrested the principal and then brought the principal to trial, leaving the students who caused the mayhem. The man told us that his lawyer was not impressing him. He now told the magistrate he wanted to defend himself. I said, is that right? I said, okay. Your lawyer, you are discharged. Because you are right, under the constitution, to defend yourself in person or by legal representation of your choice, the constitutional provision. So Ibekwe began to defend himself. At the end of the day, he was discharged and acquitted. The man now went, he read classics, I think Latin and classics in those days. He now went into the University of Nigeria to read law. He read law first degree, read a second degree, read a PhD as an old man. So he became bad. He was lecturing us, and each time he would always give us that story. So now they kind of told the same line. Maybe when you see law is one profession. When you practice it, you don't hide. It's,
Yes.
it's unlike medicine. If you are a doctor now, I bring me to your clinic, and you want to operate on me, you tell my relations to stay in the reception. You take me to the theater. Me and you only there for theater. So at the end of the day, if I didn't succeed, you simply come out as you are washing your hand. Well, you are the relations of this man. He didn't make it. They'll cry home. He made it. They will rejoice. But in law, you and your client are at the same court. In fact, you will be called first. Alex Obodo against Nnamdi, also Nnamdi motherfuckers will stand up. Then you sit down. Parties present. Any representation, lawyer will now stand up and talk. So when the lawyer says something good, you will know. If you don't say something wrong, you will know.
Yeah,
because you are there.
So guys, times without number, so many people have said that the federal government is the actual cause of insecurity in the southeast because of the vacuum they've created in terms of this marginalization. This marginalization is real and people have been raising alarm, but guess what? The Nigerian government feels so pompous, feels so big to condescend to say, okay, come, what are your problems? Why are you agitating? The government of the day always, raises its shoulder against its own people. There is no father that your children will be agitating and you are there bragging. No, you have to listen to know actually what their challenges are and what where they want attention to be directed to. But that's not the case in Nigeria. This is a case of pure hatred for a particular tribe. reasons for which nobody can see. This is actually what led to the Biafran War. Until today, is still not resolved. Any leader that wants to come into power uses it for political reasons and will pose as if when they come, they want to solve the Igbo problem. But guess what? They are not ready for the Igbo problem. They are not ready. They are just there for themselves. And that is why they've allowed these problems to degenerate. Now, Nnamdi Kanu is incarcerated, and we are now hearing that, okay, the Boko Haram in the north have been fed with dollars, and they have sources of where they get their money, their weapons, and all that. They don't even use the kind of weapon that the Nigerian military uses. Their own is more sophisticated, and nobody is worried about all these reports. Then you are going to charge somebody who has never unalived anybody. Can you imagine what is happening in this Nigerian? Can you imagine it? And when people say they are being marginalized, they are calling for let us separate, let us separate. You now term them terrorists. But why? You are the one that created the vacuum. Once you created the vacuum, something must come to fill it. We really have to urge our leaders to sit up and become real leaders. When there are issues like this, sit down and listen. A good leader is a good listener. You listen to why people are agitated. Why are people not happy? They feel aggrieved. They feel they are not being carried along. Why? You find out, and then give them some promises. At least, even if they able say they need 10 things from you, and it's okay, it's only 2 I can do. You have tried. Than just ignoring them, and then you call them terrorists, and you feel you can stop them. See, this movement is not a global movement. It's not something you can easily. Somebody even said, even if you remove Nnamdi Kanu, you remove Simon Ekpa, you have not killed the ideology. There are still even people worse than these two people that can rise up to start agitating. So what is the federal government waiting for? It's time to start discussing and talking to the people. So guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.